Hello everyone, I'm Les Dilley and I take great pleasure in being asked to present the Lifetime Achievement Award on behalf of the Art Directors Guild to the illustrious Harrison Ellenshaw. I first became aware of Harrison's skill and talent as a matte painter when he was involved in both Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back. In the latter, Harrison created 80 to 90 matte paintings, quite an undertaking. We were a good 6,000 miles apart most of that time. However, our paths crossed again after I had moved to the US and had started my career here. I worked for several companies, and one particular film came along called Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. As you can imagine by the title, there were endless effects to create, with a child appearing to grow over 100 feet tall, with lots of split screen and forced perspective, etc. It was Harrison's work as visual effects supervisor that enabled us to achieve what we needed to be done to make it all work. He was a collaborator and a master technician in the art of filmmaking, and he was always a real pleasure to work with. I felt honoured then, as I feel honoured now, to be able to acknowledge his contributions and his expertise as a matte painter, a visual effects supervisor, and a masterful artist. Let's take a look at his body of work in the industry over the years.
I'm most known for my 10 years as a matte artist. My father was an artist. He was also in the film business. So I was surrounded by creativity all my life. There's a position open for an apprentice at the matte department at Walt Disney Studios. Within 2 or 3 weeks, I knew this is what I wanted my life to be. In those days, the department did everything. They would shoot miniatures, go out and shoot backgrounds for main titles. I mean, you fell into doing all sorts of stuff. So I learned a great deal. You have to understand how a camera sees the world. So there's a difference between a tree a mile away and a tree a foot away. I don't have a favorite project. I loved working on Star Wars. I loved working on Empire Strikes Back. It was a special time because the gathering of the visual effects people was like a dream team. It was absolutely amazing. I went on to work on Tron. Tron was crazy in its ambition, and it's nothing like it ever before. And finding the way and collaborating, it was a little bit of insanity, but I loved working on it.
Even though he's a fantastic matte painter and arguably the best in the world ever, he didn't stop there. Whether it's his landscapes, whether it's the curation of the Ellenshaw collection, mentoring other artists, his lifetime is his art, and so that's the reason that I think he more than merits this award.
Allow me to introduce Harrison Ellenshaw.
Oh, wow. Okay, now I'm nervous. Thank you, Les. It means a lot to me to get that introduction from you. I'm very honored, humbled, and truly grateful for this Lifetime Achievement Award. To be a part of the visual arts for almost all of my life Well, I can't think of anything better. Like all of you here, we know that visual storytelling is what allows us to give hope and power to our dreams. It is our privilege to serve those stories and those visions. With this award, I reflect upon all the movies, television, and other projects that are such a big part of my very, very entertaining past. And when I think of that, I remember with great fondness, most of all, the people. My mentors, my co-workers, the great artists, so many icons of our industry. You know, I was privileged to work in 1986 on one of the Superman movies with an amazing gentleman, the wonderful two-time Oscar-nominated production designer, John Graysmark. I was the visual effects supervisor working at Elstree Studios in England, and I would find any excuse to go to John's art department, where he would hold court in a very good way, and often reminisce about his days working for one of his mentors, the legendary production designer John Box, 4 Oscars, including a little film called Lawrence of Arabia. John would tell me how whenever Mr. Box, and John Graysmark was one of his assistants and went with him on many films, arrived at a location or a set, Mr. Box would say, "I see the shot as this." From that, I knew to not think small, always think big, but never forget to pay attention to the details. And remember, it is always more than just the sum of the parts. So thank you, Art Directors Guild, and all of you. Special thanks to the craftspeople that I have known, who have taught me so much. To the John Graysmarks, the Les Dillies, the Elliot Scotts, the Carmen Dillons, the Michael Rivas, the Ralph McQuarries, the Alan Maleys of the world, and the hundreds of others. And finally, thanks to my family, to my son, Mike, to my daughter, Hillary, to my wonderful sister, Linda, and to the love of my life, Julie, and especially to my mother and to my father, Peter Ellenshaw, who would be so proud of his son. Thank you. Love you all.